So this is tutorial number 4. Welcome to this tutorial, and we're going to add a obstacle to our scene now to really get onto the road and make it an actual driving simulator. So make sure you guys do this before you do it to yourself. So now down in the projects window where we added our vehicle earlier, we're going to make sure that we go into the obstacle folder, and this is of course in the course library. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the obstacles folder, double click on the obstacles folder, and it'll pop up these many of obstacles. Now you guys can add whatever obstacle you like, just like I said that you guys can add whatever vehicle you like. But I'm going to choose the crate because actually the truck itself has some boxes on it, so it kind of looks similar. So I'm just going to drag this box, but this time I'm going to left click and drag the crate, but instead of dragging it to the hierarchy, I'm going to drag it directly into our scene view. And you guys can see that it actually is updating live wherever I position the mouse, or wherever I drag my mouse. The crate moves as well, and it's actually updating live wherever I move it. So if I actually position this crate, like if I bring it close to the road, it'll actually snap directly onto the road. If I do it to the car, it'll do the same thing. So look, there's actually a box on the car now. So I'm going to release my mouse button now, and you guys can see our box has been positioned in our scene. That's actually pretty cool. Now in Unity, we can actually have coordinates to keep track on where our where our objects are in the world. So for example, our truck is actually in the center of our virtual world, our game here. And if you guys want to know on how you guys can see that, just select your truck here until it's highlighted in blue. And then here on the very right, there's the inspector tab that pops up. And you guys just can see the position is at 0.00, which is of course the X, Y, and the Z. And of course, just do that by, I'll repeat, just do that by clicking the truck, and the inspector tab opens, it expands. And then you guys can see underneath the inspector tab at the very top of all the different options that we can transform, like the position, the rotation, the scale, and there are of course other tabs here as well that we will be teaching you guys in the future. But for now, just gonna stick on the position, so you guys can change that if you guys like. But we need to change that on the crate or whatever obstacle you guys added. So I'm going to do the same thing here that we did to the vehicle. We repositioned it earlier in some other tutorials. So here you guys can see the crate is in the middle of nowhere, and we don't want that. Or I guess I can say, so currently we have our move tool selected, which is here on the top, which is the toolbar, and this is the toolbar, and those are of course different tools that I will be teaching you later in this video. So you guys can see that if I drag it, if I use this green arrow and I click on it and I drag it up and down, the y axis, the coordinates on the y axis will change, and if I command Z, it'll go back to normal. I can do the same thing on the x-axis. I can move the obstacle on the x-axis, and of course Control or Command Z will undo that. And then of course I can do the same thing, the same exact thing on the z-axis. So I'm going to undo that as well. So I'm going to reposition this crate, and I can do this in two ways. I can either do it by going to the inspector and just changing the coordinates underneath our transform. If I can actually select the box, you guys can see that all the text is now highlighted. I can actually type in 0, and then it'll move the object, the obstacle, to the 0 coordinate on the x-axis. I can do the same thing with any other axis. So in our transform, you can actually see all the way of our component. There's this little gear icon. So if I left click on that gear icon, you guys can see that there are different options here, and one of the option is the reset position. So if I left click on that, now it resets the position, and on our X, Y, and Z are all 0. And so now what I can do is, if I just want to move the box if I just want to move the box on a certain axis, I can easily do that using the arrows. Now I'm going to do this the easy way, and I'm going to just type in on the Z-axis. I'm just going to type in the inspector. So I want this to be a little further from the box, the vehicle, not directly in the middle of the vehicle. So I'm going to go into my Z here, my Z-axis, and I'm going to change it from 0. First, of course, I'm going to highlight it and select it, and I'm going to change it to, I guess, 25. 25 would be good on the Z-axis, and it automatically just moves my box 25 units away from the Z, or also 25 units away from the truck on the Z. And it's actually a very handy thing to do, to know in Unity, is that each individual unit, so if I had a Z of 1, that would actually just be 1 meter from the truck, or 1 meter on the Z axis. So we actually moved this box 25 meters on the Z position, and which moved it in front of our vehicle, and that's exactly what we want. So last but not least, I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up on my different objects here. Well, so my crate here, I'm going to rename it to, let's just say, in the hierarchy here on the left side, I'm going to right click on the crate and select rename, and then I'm going to left click on rename, and then I can just rename it to whatever I want. I'm going to rename it to obstacle for now, so we know that that's our obstacle. And then with our truck or vehicle, I'm just going to right click on that, left click on it, so until it's highlighted, and then in our inspector tab here, I can just go on the right, and then in the inspector tab, I can just rename it to vehicle or truck, or whatever you guys want to rename it to. That's of course up to you as well. So I'm going to rename it vehicle, and now if you guys can see in the hierarchy, it is also rename. So this is like a different ways that you can rename your objects. There are just 2 different ways to rename your objects. Alright, this was just a short tutorial on how you guys could add an obstacle and reposition it to wherever you guys want. But of course, in front of the vehicle, not on top of it, not below it, not in the center of it, just in front of it, 25 meters away from the vehicle, or 25 units on the Z-axis. So if you guys like this video, I appreciate it. Please also do make sure you guys subscribe, turn on post notifications, smash that like button. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. It will be tutorial number 5.